Hey guys, so I've been getting a lot of questions about gluten. What is gluten? How does it affect me? And what do I need to know about it? Since gluten it's everywhere. Gluten-free products are on the counter. They're advertised and marketed so well. But what is it? So gluten is a sticky protein molecule that's found in wheat, rye, and barley. Also found in other grains such as bulgur, durum, semolina, spelt, and triticale. Triticale is a hybrid of wheat and rye. And gluten has been cross pollinated with other foods as well. So you will sometimes find it in processed foods such as deli meat, candy, ketchup, mustard, uh, etc. It has been cross pollinated into so many things that you are probably not as aware of. So that's something to pay attention to if you have a sensitivity. So basically, every food on the planet that is not processed is gluten free. So, vegetables, your fruits, and your proteins, like your meats. Basically, it's very similar to a paleo diet, which actually would include potatoes. Paleo diets are based on prehistoric times, basically saying like it assimilates to the caveman diet. So anything that basically was natural and from the ground is just about an easy way to explain the paleo diet. So the paleo diet, follows a gluten-free diet with a couple of other exceptions that they've worked around as far as making things that are gluten free and things like that. And the 21-day fix basically also follows a gluten free diet. There are a few others as well. So what gluten does is it gives dough for breads and things like that, other foods, its elasticity. It's like a glue, which is why you find it in other foods as well. Uh, because it's mass manufactured and it's used to thicken, stabilize, and emulsify foods, which is why you find it in a lot of those other processed foods that I mentioned, like ketchup and candy and things like that. So the mass modification of grains uh, is basically what has led to massive gluten sensitivities and intolerations. So food has been processed so much that um, it's resulted in new wheat and grain strains that have our bodies have been unable to digest properly. Basically, that's when it all comes down to your body can't digest it. One in 133 people have celiac disease, which is basically a disease where your body cannot tolerate or handle gluten of any kind in any form. So, whether the gluten is in a processed condiment or it's baked into something, or sometimes it could even be found in, a medication or whatever, your body cannot tolerate it at any time. Um, and then 1 out of 7 people is gluten intolerant or allergic. So these are statistics I also received from Dr. X. Disclaimer there. So if you suspect you have any of these symptoms, right now I'm going to tell you you need to see a physician. Basically, I'm not a physician, I'm not a doctor. I would suggest you see a physician. Gluten in sprouted grains like Ezekiel is not foreseen as bad to you because those grains are sprouted and they're soaked, which kills a phytic acid. Uh, and phytic acid, what it does is it blocks the absorption of vitamins and minerals in your body. So that's why many diets allow sprouted grains like Ezekiel in them. Um, and even though it's still considered not gluten free, it's not a gluten free product. It has benefits for you. Um, Most of our plant sources they come from wheat, rice, and corn. So it's important in your diet to diversify your grains because you need variety. Your body needs that variety. You can't lean towards one and not the other because you need, as you've learned in a lot of the different diets that we've tried over the years, everyone's tried some type of diet, or even if you follow the 21-day fix portion control meal plan, or if you follow a paleo diet, every diet has some form of variation of vegetables, grains, and starches, fruits, etc. You need variety in your diet. So it's not so like the diet where you like avoid no carbs consistently, that's not the kind of diet you want to follow. It's not good for your body. Your body needs carbs in moderation, and you need to pay attention to what type of carbs you're putting into your body. And that is what's most important. To completely rid your body of certain things, it defeats the purpose because God made our bodies to eat those things so that they can rebuild the proteins and help our body function. As we break things down, we need to repair things. And in order to repair those things, our body needs the right vitamins and minerals and nutrients to do so. And those vitamins and minerals and nutrients come from food. So we need to pay attention to the food we're eating, which goes back to the gluten. If you're vegan, a good alternative to gluten free, because you're lacking protein in certain areas, because you're ridding yourself of basically meat products, is called teff, which is high in iron. Now, I haven't tried teff. I heard it's a very good alternative to those products, but I've heard it's a great try. So if you try teff and you like it or you don't like it, let me know. But I've heard it come highly recommended as far as a substitution if you have a rice sensitivity, if you're vegan, or you have a gluten sensitivity. I've heard teff is a good choice. So some common side effects when you have a gluten allergy or insensitivity or celiac disease is bloating, gas, severe stomach pain, pains, depression, fatigue, brain fog, rashes, ulcer, mouth sores, and inflammation. Those are just among the few. There are, obviously more symptoms, but those are just a few of the most common symptoms of gluten intolerance. Now, when it comes to deciding if you should choose a gluten-free diet or not, there are a couple things that you need to first consider. One is if you have celiac disease. Like I mentioned, celiac disease basically makes your body is completely intolerant to gluten. So in that case, obviously, yes, you should have a gluten-free diet. The second is if you are allergic to gluten, if you're intolerant, then yes, again, that's an obvious reason why you should avoid gluten. However, even if a product over the counter says it's gluten free and you have one of those two things, either celiac or gluten allergy, you still need to be aware of the products over the counter. Like I said, gluten is hidden in many forms of processed foods. So you need to make sure that you are reading the things that you are buying, because if you're, claiming to have a gluten-free diet, but you're still feeling very uncomfortable and uneasy and sick, it could be because the processed foods you're consuming still contain gluten, just hidden in there, or you just overlook them and think, well, it's ketchup, it shouldn't have any gluten in it, or deli meat. Like that one, I must say I was pretty surprised about myself too. But you need to pay attention to those things and perhaps buy organic, or make your own things like that from scratch. And I'm not saying make your own ketchup, but like your own cupcakes and things like that you can make from scratch, with other forms of flour, such as almond, coconut flour, and other products that are gluten-free, like gluten-free all-purpose flour. There are many other options. So those two things, I would definitely say you need to have a gluten-free diet. That's obvious right there, right off the bat. And the next would be if you are trying to unprocess your diet. So if you are working to unprocess your diet, that would mean removing gluten. However, I'm going to say right off the bat, again, I am not a physician, but um, if you feel that, you want to try it for a certain amount of time and see how your body feels removing gluten, you are certainly most welcome to do that. So basically, a lot of the diets that I give most of my clients, for the most part, are gluten free, except they allow for sprouted greens. Which, like I said, they're not bad in the form of Ezekiel and things like that. But again, with breads especially, and wraps and things like that, you need to read the ingredients. You need to read them on the back of, turn it around on the back, read the label, because there are a lot of things that are hidden in there that may not be good for you. Um, Especially even sugars, but that's a whole nother subject. So, if you want to eliminate things from your diet and unprocess your food, the things you need to pay attention to are chemically altered substance, chemically altered ingredients, substances, artificial ingredients, things like that are what you're going to remove from your diet if you're unprocessing your diet. So you're going to stick to, like I said, like the fruits, the vegetables, and things like that. You can still have pastas and things like that in your diet as well, but make sure again you read the ingredients. You want to make sure that your pasta doesn't have like 20 different ingredients in it, like, and ingredients you can't pronounce um, at all, or things that don't even look familiar, like if it's a vitamin or a nutrient or things like that that you do not recognize. And if you don't know it, here's an idea. We have this thing called Google, and you can Google an ingredient if you have no idea what it is. And I can guarantee you, when you put in the name of that ingredient, it will come up. And I know this because I have done it before as I've wanted to learn things and research them. And in college, they make you quite frequently do that, and in grad school. So it's something that you learn a lot. So if you're unfamiliar with an ingredient, empower yourself. Look it up and learn, like, what exactly is this? What am I putting into my body before you spend the money, buy that, take it home, and then eat it. So you want to be very aware of that. And now, don't assume that anything that you pick off the counter of the grocery store that says gluten free is good for you. Because just like sugars and diet products, how they replace things with chemically, uh, you know, chemically made up sugars that are not good for your body, they do the same thing with gluten free foods. So when they take out the gluten of a baked good, what they do is they fill it with other things. And usually, those flours have a higher glycemic index. Now, it may not be that way with every place. There are some organic places where they don't do that, but you need to pay attention. That's the key. Not everything you buy that's gluten free is healthy for you. It's not. Um, it's just like anything in life. You have to pay attention to it, because the power of marketing is they're going to make it look good, they're going to make it sound good, so you buy it and they make money regardless of if it's good for you or not. So that is something you definitely want to pay attention to, because if you're consuming those things and you're still feeling like you're gaining weight, it's most likely because those flours that they replaced it with that have a higher glycemic index are causing insulin spikes, which increase your cravings and increase your hunger. So, that's something to also be very aware of. And now, again, this is my disclaimer, which basically states that if you feel like, any of the symptoms that I described, or any of the reasons, that I said a lot of people refrain from gluten, if you feel like they apply to you, or you feel like you have a gluten intolerance or celiac, you need to see a physician. That's the first thing. If you feel like you're experiencing any of those symptoms, you need to see a physician if they are happening on a consistent basis. Because you need to have a blood test done, or an allergy test done, or whatever your physician recommends to find out if that is what's happening to you. Do not diagnose yourself or Google on WebMD and then just say, this is what I have. One, you'll drive yourself crazy. And two, you could be completely off. There are a lot of other stomach issues, such as IBS, Crohn's, and colitis, that also have overlapping symptoms. So, I mean, it could even be something different. So, you do want to get that checked. What you may think is celiac or gluten intolerance may not be that at all. Or it could be because you are still consuming too many processed foods in your diet, and I would automatically start removing those as well. So I hope this video helped you and gave you a little bit more background about gluten. If you have any more questions, you can feel free to ask me, or again, you really need to reach out to your physician if you feel like it's something extreme. Um, that's so important, and I cannot emphasize that enough. That is what they are there for. Um, that's what they went to school for, just like I went to school for my particular expertise. I cannot tell you that gluten intolerance is what you have. You need to see a physician so you can be tested. Um, so, I hope this video gave you some more information and made you more aware. But at the end of the day, just like the one lesson I taught about sugar, which I'll do a different video at a separate time, you need to be very aware of what you put in your body, and you need to read the ingredients. And if you don't know them, look them up. All right. So if you have any other questions, you know where to find me, and have a great day.